Live. Today we have such a special link live. I'm so excited. My name is Marina Mayer, editor-in-chief of Food Logistics and Supply and Demand Chain Executive, and I'm here with my lovely ladies. If you want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Brielle Jekyll. I'm the associate editor.
And I am McKenna Morales, and I am the assistant editor.
And we are missing Plum the pillow. I'm very upset because McKenna's actually in the office today and forgot to bring Plum to today's special event. We are so excited. Today is so special. I'm so excited because today we are revealing our 2021 overall rock stars of the supply chain winner for Food Logistics. And I could not be more excited. Before we dive in and bring this person on with us, I just wanted to kind of go over a couple of housekeeping items. Nominations for Supply and Demand Chain Executives Top Supply Chain Projects are open through April 11th. I'll put the registration in the chat. Also, be sure to register today for our next SEN Summit on Transportation, which takes place next week. Again, I'll put the registration in the chat. And I think we are ready for the big reveal. Are we ready? I'm so excited. So will the 2021 overall rock stars of the Supply Chain Award winner please turn your camera on? Yay! Yay! Excited. So everybody, this is Liz Longstreet Dar, the Executive Vice President of Strategic Sourcing for National DCP. Liz, thank you so much for joining us today and congratulations on your big award.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here.
Absolutely. We're excited for you to be a part of today's program. I know that there has been an interview and a profile that's going to publish in our Food Logistics print magazine, but it will also be online at foodlogistics.com right now. So make sure you go there and check it out. McKenna, I'm going to toss things over to you since you kind of spearhead our awards process and helped us make sure that Liz made a top spot. We're so excited. So McKenna?
Yes, I get to go first today.
Yes, you get to go first today.
But congratulations again, Liz. I know that we've talked before, but what does this honor mean to you, your company, and the woman in the supply chain? And more, if you want to answer that as well.
Sure, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm just so honored to have been selected for this award and truly humbled and a little bit surprised. I mean, it's really just an exciting honor to be recognized. I think I mentioned to you, McKenna, when we last talked that supply chain oftentimes is only recognized when something goes wrong. You know, that's what hits the headlines. That's when you get the phone calls. No one ever calls you to say, hey, everything showed up on time and in full today and the specification. We don't get many of those calls. So I think this award is so meaningful to me and honestly to anyone probably who receives it, because it's one of the few times you get recognized for all of the work you do that led to things going right. So just really appreciative of that. And I'd say for our company, what it means, I mean, no one runs a supply chain by themselves. So, you know, from my perspective, this award is really for everyone at our company. Last year was a really challenging year. As everyone knows, 2020 was a year, maybe we want to forget parts of it. But, you know, we have 1,400 employees and every single one of them contributed to getting us through 2020 successfully, from our drivers to our warehouse pickers, our inventory team that was constantly battling demand changes and supplier issues and things like that. Of course, my team in sourcing and the team that executes all the limited time offers for the Dunkin' system. I mean, everyone worked so hard last year to get through the year. And so I feel like that's what the award means to our company is it's just a recognition of all the hard work that everyone in our supply chain put forward to get through 2020. And I'd say for women, what it means, I guess it probably means whatever it means to any women out there. But for me, I think one thing I've loved seeing is I've had some really strong female mentors in supply chain, and I feel like that's becoming more and more prevalent where you see these strong women leaders. At my last company, it was founded and run by a female leader, Marianne Rose. She's a great mentor of mine. And I think being able to see women in those roles is just really helpful so that everyone can see that it's, you know, it's possible, totally achievable. There's, you know, no reason why a female shouldn't be in these supply chain leadership roles. And so I think that's what it might mean to some women, but I think just the more that we can get those female leaders out there and visible helps people understand, hey, this is a role that I can do.
I think diversity and representation and inclusion have become such a buzzwords throughout the last year, especially in our industry and in entertainment. But I really do think it's important because the more you see yourself represented, the more you know that you're capable of doing something. So with all like these girls that are now supply chain majors, or even the younger girls that are now taking up STEM programs, it's because of people like you that they see that they know that they're capable of doing it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree, 100%. And, like I said, I owe a lot of my career to strong female leaders that have helped me along the way. And honestly, male leaders too. I've had great mentors every which way. So but it is helpful to see those people come before you and be successful so you can kind of envision yourself doing the same.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I read through the article that McKenna wrote, that's on foodlogistics.com right now, and I kind of read through the nomination, when we were going through when we were vetting all the awards, I felt like this connection, like this hidden connection with you because, I too am a working mom, I'm juggling 2 young kids, this hybrid school, e-learning school, whatever it is, full-time job. And when my daughter was born, she's 9 now, but when she was born, 3 months after maternity leave, I started a new job. And then I started this job 2 months before the pandemic hit. So it's like a lot of stuff is happening at once. What do you say to those women watching and reading the article that are trying to juggle life and the supply chain and trying to juggle all the different pieces that go along with being a working mom in this world?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had the magic answer. I'm not sure I have any more insight than we all do on this, but I'd say I think one thing that's been helpful for me is kind of throwing out the concept of trying to do everything perfectly. I think that was something I strive for a lot early in my career. And, personally and professionally, I, had this kind of unattainable drive for perfection. And it honestly, it got me results for quite some time early in my career, but it was totally unsustainable. And so I think that's, from my perspective, a big thing that I've learned and has been helpful for me, at least, is to kind of throw that out the window and, realize that perfect is not possible and show up, do my best every day. I'm a great mom. I'm great at what I do. Like, just go with it. Work hard and you're going to deliver, and just stop worrying about being perfect. The baby cries for 30 seconds longer than I'd like. Like, I hate that, but she's going to be okay. And if I don't get to that one email today that I know I need to get to, it's not ideal, but I'll get it tomorrow. And I think it's just cutting ourselves a little bit of slack, and I think, too often we kind of beat ourselves up when we can't do everything. And I think we just have to stop that. So that's what I'm trying to do. It's hard. It's easier said than done, but constantly trying to just, cut myself a break and know that I'm doing great and doing everything I can. And that's all I can expect for myself.
Oh my God, I love it. I think I'm going to rewatch this interview when I start to, on days when I feel like I'm drowning. Just feel like, well, Liz says everything's going to be okay, so I'm going to be okay.
Right. You
It'll
just
be
have
okay.
Cut yourself some slack, she said it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You just have to be
Exactly.
kind to yourself. And I think people
Yeah.
forget that a lot, especially as you are a new mother. And I think people come back, or women often come back to work after maternity leave feeling like they have something to prove.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's necessary anymore, especially in like this day and age. Like, if you can push out a child or get cut open, like,
Either way, you're winning.
you can do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree. And honestly, maternity leave is interesting. I kind of struggled with that, and I'm sure a lot of women do, just taking time off that's so important to do. Like, I don't know why I felt so guilty about it. Like, it's, it's the most important thing you do. I think that's probably the other thing we should all do a little bit, is feel a little less guilty about stuff, is, it was totally necessary and important for me to be at home during that time. Well, I'm at home all the time, but, at home, not at my computer during that time. And yeah, I mean, I got right back into things, and, of course, everyone on my team did great while I was out, and there was nothing for me to worry about. So, so yeah, I think you're right. We don't have anything to prove when we get back.
Yeah. It's good advice.
You're all powerful.
Yes.
Oh,
am I back?
You're back.
Oh,
yay.
I'm so sorry. I specifically moved so that wouldn't happen.
You're good.
Well,
you have a question.
I wanted to change the subject a little bit. I'm sorry. I mean, we were having a really interesting conversation, but focused on the food service industry and the supply chain. How do you think that it's transformed since the pandemic hit?
Yeah, so I'm mostly, like, I'm in the restaurant industry, and I know food service industry is broader than that, but we support restaurants, and 2020 was a horrible year for restaurants. I mean, it's typically a $900 billion industry. I think we ended up around $650 billion in 2020. And the restaurant industry has been, impacted pretty significantly because of COVID. And fortunately, the people in the restaurant industry are some of the most resilient people I've met, but you kind of wish they didn't have to be so resilient to get through 2020 and going to 2021. But, I think everyone in this industry is working hard to make sure that as many restaurants survive as possible. And whether that's on our side, it's, making sure we're managing costs super close, because when top line is really volatile, which it has been in the restaurant industry, because you just don't know what demand's going to be like when things are opening up, closing down, opening up, and closing down, the cost management becomes really important. So that's, what we've been focusing on in terms of our contribution. I mean, in supply chain, we always focus on cost, let's be real, but it's critically important to restaurant operators right now. So I think the industry's had to learn and change and adapt quickly, and adapt, probably 20 different times over the past year to make sure that they're relevant in a pandemic world. But I'm hopeful going into 2021 that, with the vaccine being more vastly distributed, and honestly, all the safety measures restaurants have already taken, I'm hoping that'll bring people back more into restaurants, in a safe way that everyone's comfortable with, and that, this industry can continue to thrive, because it's so important. We employ, I think, 15 million people in the country, and plus, who doesn't love eating? Like, it's just an important part of what we do. I love going out to eat and drink, and I want these businesses to survive. So yeah, it's been a rough year for a lot of the restaurant industry, but like I said, it's a resilient industry, and I know everyone's working really hard to get through this.
I know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brielle.
You kind of already answered this, but what do you think is in store for 2021 and then beyond in this food service industry?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm optimistic that things are going to improve in terms of getting people back into restaurants. And so I'm hopeful that everyone keeps talking about normal. I don't know that normal is happening again, or at least not for a long time. But I'm hoping people can get out to eat and drink safely again this year, that sales will improve for all types of restaurants. We've been fortunate. We support the Dunkin' system, and people are leaning on drive-throughs right now. And because they feel like they can, go through a drive-through safely without interacting with other people. And so fortunately, our business has done pretty well through the pandemic because of that. And really, most drive-through restaurants have. But I'd like to see people get back to casual dining and fine dining and other segments of our industry that are so important too. As we go into 2021 and things things improve.
I love how a lot of restaurants and food service companies were able to adapt to the technology and adapt their restaurants to be more takeout and more drive-through friendly. So it's like,
oh no.
I think I know where she's going with that thought.
She had such a good point.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've seen it. I mean, in my own behavior, I'm almost always using the apps now. You know, I think this is where you're going. The technology, at least probably the consumer-facing technology. I mean, yeah, I use the Dunkin' app to order before I go to Dunkin'. Chick-fil-A, like all the apps have gotten so much better so quickly. It's amazing, and yeah, it makes it so easy. So I do think it's anything that was kind of in the works from a technology perspective in the food service industry. This accelerated, especially if it helps people, you know, get through faster and with less exchange of cash and, you know, less exchange with people being face to face. So yeah, I think you're right that this technology has evolved quickly.
I used to always make fun of my fiance, like pre-pandemic, about having food apps on his phone. I was like, is that really necessary? Like, do you need to have an app for every restaurant?
I was like, always like, please download this app so I don't have to do it for you and you can stop complaining about the lines.
And
hey, it does help with speed of service. It really does.
It really does. And now I'm the fool who doesn't have any apps on her phone. But Brielle literally asked the question that I was going to ask about your predictions. But
Brielle may punch you through the camera. Look at her. Or did she think she froze again? You're not frozen.
But no. I'm just so curious to see what it'll be like a year from now, because since it's like the 1 year anniversary of COVID, to see how the restaurants are doing. Like, are people just not going to go out because they're used to like cooking at home, or if they're just going to go like hog wild? And
I think they're going to go hog wild. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of my cooking. So I'm ready to go out and have someone else cook the food for me and take the plates away from me. That's like a key piece that I miss. Like, it's cleaning my plates afterward. I'm tired of that.
Things we took for granted.
I know.
Yeah.
It's funny how you look back and you think like, oh, that's not really that big of a deal. And then you're in it and you're like, man, I'm cooking like nonstop. I'm always preparing all these meals. And then everybody gets sick of those meals. So you're like, okay, everybody's just on their own. Like, there's a la carte nights. It's like, okay, you have grilled cheese, you get peanut butter and jelly, like whatever is available, because there's days I'm just like, I'm done. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to hear that perspective.
I mean, we talked about, sorry. Just always have something to say.
I was just gonna say, I echo that. Yeah.
I mentioned this before on Link Live, but we have transitioned to meal kits, and I'm sick of them too, because that is still a lot of cooking.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's a lot of prepping, and you have to plan for that. Like, I love my crock pot, but like I have to prepare everything to put it in there. So it's like, do I do that the night before? Do I do it the morning of? And then if I say I'm going to do it the morning of, then everybody's like running around like a crazy person. So it just, it doesn't happen.
I know. And it's like my apartment permanently reeks of onions now, because everything in that meal kit just always has onions.
That's why I love meal kits. I love me some onions.
It's another complaint that I have. I'll just put it in a blog, I guess. But Liz, what advice do you have for others in the food supply chain that are trying to navigate all of today's disruptions?
Yeah, I think that supply chain people are used to this, but we're used to having problems coming at us left and right. That's just I don't know that there's anyone in supply chain who's not experienced in that. So I think 2020 and the pandemic was just like similar problems, but like different root causes. And so I think our approach is very similar. You just have to take it kind of one step at a time. Like, saying like eat the elephant one bite at a time, like just solve the problem in front of you. And even if there's 100 of them, that's the best you can do is, just keep tackling them one at a time, get through it. This too shall pass. It will. Every supply problem does. And just do your best, work as hard as you can, and just take it one step at a time. I know it's been a year full of, I know that we're always faced with challenges, but this year has had more. But again, I just think that most supply chain people are well versed in that. So I think we just take the same approach we usually do, and just fight the battles, and things will get better. They will.
So now, knowing everything that you know, where you are at this point in your career, what would you tell your younger self to do differently or better or anything?
Yeah, I don't know. That one's hard. Because I feel like all the things you do when you're younger that you wish you maybe had done differently is what kind of helps you get to where you're going. But I think it's really important in supply chain to take ownership of the challenges that you experience, even though almost everything is out of our direct control. We have to take ownership because the products that we're trying to get to people or the services we're trying to deliver really drive people's businesses. In our case, if the Dunkin' system doesn't have the products they need to sell, it hurts their business. And a lot of them are, small businesses, independent franchise operators. So I think the ownership piece is important, but at some point you have to not let it eat you up. I think sometimes that can happen in the supply chain world, and the supply chain people, especially early when they first are starting out, is these supply chain issues can really just, keep you up at night and kind of eat you up. And that's also not sustainable. So I have found, just trying to stay calm, focus on the problem, focus on solutioning, and knowing that things are outside of our control, but, again, working hard to address the issue and having confidence that you have the skills and experience necessary to come with a right solution, I think is important, and just trying not to lose too much sleep over it. But certainly earlier in my career, I did a lot of that. I mean, and the problems haven't changed. It's just that I try not to let it, impact my life, outside of work and personally. So I think that's important. They're big problems, they are. And, you can feel it when you're having a supply chain issue or a supply issue, but just try not to let it run your life.
That's good advice. Lots of good advice, I will say. Walking away with a whole new outlook on life. Liz, congratulations again. So excited for you. And thank you so much for being a part of our program today. I think this was enjoyable for all of us. Thank you for everything that you do, everything that your company has done during these crazy times. Thank you for being an inspiration and a great role model to the young females looking to enter the supply chain industry, because it's important to be able to look up to people who are actually, especially other women who are actually doing things that matter. And so that is one of the reasons why you received this award. So thank you for all of that. And thank you to all of the essential workers, the frontline workers, and everyone who continues to keep our nation's supply chains moving. If you want to read more about Liz, the article is online right now at foodlogistics.com, or keep an eye out for our March print issue, which is coming out at the end of the month sometime soon. We'll see. Just keep an eye out for your mail. And thank you again, Liz. Thank you again, ladies, and hope to see you again next week. Hold on, what are we doing? Same place, same time, Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central. Oh, because it's our April Fool's Day special, discussing how the last mile continues to pull pranks on consumers. And that is where McKenna can shine, because she is unlucky in logistics. So we'll continue. So we'll see you next week. Thank you again, Liz. And thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week, 11 a.m.